The Virtual Boys have been playing Nintendo games since they were little. This clearly makes them experts in the field with absolutely no bias at all. This week, the Virtual Boys discuss weird games that they played when they were younger that should probably make a return someday. You're listening to the Virtual Boys podcast by Nintendo City. This podcast is done by four friends that talk about anything and everything Nintendo. Check out our website at nintendcity.com and be sure to follow us on your social network of choice. Please be sure to subscribe and share us with your friends. Oh, and please enjoy our show. Welcome back to the Virtual Boys podcast. This is episode 51. I'm David, accompanied today with Jordan.
Hey.
And James.
Hey, how's it going?
Unfortunately, we're not with Skylar today. Like I've said last week, there have been some scheduling conflicts and stuff. We're still trying to figure out our summer schedules and all of that. But the three of us are here to talk about some really fun stuff. We're going to talk about games that were on older consoles that we think could make some sort of comeback on Switch, whether it's a port or an enhanced remake or a sequel of some sort. Before we jump in, just want to remind you that our show is sponsored by Patreon. So if you have a minute, just head on over to our Patreon page and consider sending a few bucks our way so that we can keep the show running. Without further ado, let's just jump right into these games. The first one that we have on our list is a Donkey Kong 64 game. Of course, we've haven't had many entries in the collectathon genre, but we got ukulele soon. But do you guys think that we should put Nintendo characters back in some sort of collectathon, like even if it's just Donkey Kong?
First of all, we've had a ton of collectathons. Not recently, but in the past, there was just like tons and tons of them. So much so that everyone got bored and died. That's the history of gaming. No, no, I mean, Jack and Daxter. Anyway, everyone was making collectathon games, but Rare was so good at it, and they took Donkey Kong and made it an excellent collectathon. Now, I personally think that Nintendo doesn't have to stray away from the collectathon genre, and I think they're trying to go back to that with Super Mario Odyssey, but at the same time, Nintendo is not Rare. And Rare just did such a good job with Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and Donkey Kong 64. I don't know. It's hard to top that. But if there is a company that could do it, it may be Nintendo.
Well, apparently, even the ex-Rare employees weren't able to get ukulele to be up to par with what they wanted it to be.
I mean, apparently. They said themselves that they delivered on what they promised in their Kickstarter campaign, so they're at least happy with that, I guess. But yeah. I mean, reviews are not very happy with it.
But it's very right in the not in the middle. It's like, either you really love it or you really despise it. Like, it's really torn. You could look at one review on YouTube and it's like, this is another Mighty Number 9. Definitely on the Mighty Number 9 spectrum of Kickstarter games. And then you look at another one, it says, this is the greatest Kickstarter game ever made. And there's like, what about Shovel Knight? Anyway, it's so interesting to see that. But I don't know. I think if you bring a character in like Donkey Kong, you don't necessarily run the risk of, will they like this new IP? Will they be able to latch on to the new world? I mean,
well,
I don't know.
So even when Donkey Kong came out, though, we really enjoyed it. The three of us really enjoyed it, but we were part of that target audience at the time.
That's true.
The older gamers at that time who were a bit older than us, there was a lot of criticism that Donkey Kong was too much of a collectathon. Because you had like 100 bananas for 5 different Kongs for every single level.
Right, and you couldn't yeah, you couldn't pick anything up. So
yeah, and switching between the Kongs was just a huge pain for some people. I enjoyed it. I know you two enjoyed it, but
well, I definitely think there's ways they can improve it if they were to make a remake. There's definitely, just having a button to change would be pretty nice, but maybe a little broken. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that would even solve it. Exactly.
So, I don't know. I mean, we have it on the Wii U on Virtual Console, and it's Skylar's has played that multiple times, and those save states have been nice. But
I think if they were to do a Donkey Kong, not really a remake, but kind of a sequel to Donkey Kong 64,
I think that'd be better.
Maybe just bring down the cast a little bit, so you just focus on 3, and then you can just swap around between those 3 or something. I don't know.
Right, and I mean, I bring up Donkey Kong 64 because we got the successful remake of, well, not remake, but a return to form with Donkey Kong Country Returns. I mean, I thought that game was fantastic, and it really captured the SNES games and even improved on them. I mean, you had a better life system and a better health system and all that. You didn't just die to everything, and not all the enemies were, you touch them and you die. So I think that the talent is there because, I mean... Donkey Kong Country was developed by Rare, and then Nintendo had Retro make the return to genre with the Donkey Kong Country Returns. So I think that Nintendo has the talent to pull off a sequel to Donkey Kong 64, or at least take Donkey Kong back to that genre.
I don't want Retro working on it.
No, I'm not saying Retro should work on it. Absolutely not. Like, I'd rather them go back to Metroid.
For them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who's to say... Well, hear me out. Who's to say that they can't work on, like, a Metroid game and then take a break and work on the next Donkey Kong 64 game? Or the sequel, or whatever. I mean, you wouldn't have, like, year after year game. I don't think they can make it that fast, but...
No, they've shown that they're pretty slow at making games.
They're pretty slow. Anyway, mind you, I think they could definitely give it to another team, but... I don't think Retro would do a bad job. I really don't.
No, Retro would do a great job, but I'd rather have them work on something a bit bigger. Camelot, however, the director at Camelot Games, they were saying that they would like to do a Donkey Kong 64 sequel.
Oh, really?
This was a long time ago, though, like 4 or 5 years ago.
They could. I enjoy Camelot. I mean, I think of late they've kind of been a little lazy with it, but some of the original stuff. I mean, I played Mario Tennis on the Game Boy Advance. Love that.
Well, they invented our savior, Luigi, or Waluigi, I mean.
Ended world hunger.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, yeah, I think that if there is going to be a company that is able to make the next great collectathon, and it's not Platonic, it's going to be Nintendo. That's not Mario. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's set in stone that Mario is going to be a great game, but
yeah, I don't know. Mario, I think the demand is there. I think that Ukulele's mixed response though is going to make it really difficult to get one of these projects greenlit.
True.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
A lot of people were angry just for the sake that it was a collectathon game. Like a lot of people with Ukulele.
Interesting.
They were attacking it and saying, "Oh, it's so boring having to walk across this world to collect an item to go across." Like it was as if they didn't understand what kind of game they were getting.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that's funny because that's what basically killed the collectathon genre anyway. Is that people were saying they were getting boring and repetitive and having to go, or mundane. But at the same time, that's some of the charm that collectathons had. I think the issue was that there were just so many and that everyone was making them.
Yeah.
I think people were just sick of it.
And I think Ukulele's big problem was that the world is too big and that the items are too sparse between each other.
Right.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, I've watched a little bit of it. I will probably still pick it up when it comes out on the Switch, simply because I want to show that I support the genre. And in my opinion, based on what I've seen, I don't think that I'm going to dislike it. I think that I'll actually like it.
Yeah, I think I'll be fine with it, but I don't know, $40.
Yeah, I mean that's the other problem. I mean, but at the same time, Playtonic has promised several fixes in this next patch update that lets you skip cutscenes if you're playing the game again. You can get through text faster and lower the volume of the rare voices. Like people were having big issues with that, and so they're fixing those. So, I mean, it at least shows that it at least shows that they're interested in keeping the game up to date and making sure that everything works well. But
it's been interesting watching like the reaction towards ukulele. It's just like, have you guys not played banjo at all?
Right.
Like that. This is exactly what was advertised for it to be, and then it's just like Star Fox Zero all over again, where everyone's like, "Ah, it's too much like Star Fox 64."
Right.
That's what we wanted, right?
Yeah, everyone that asked for this game wanted it to be this way, and that's what we got.
It's like we're changing the whole topic of conversation after the game is done. I don't know.
It is pretty silly. I see. It might like with Star Fox 64 or Star Fox Zero. My issue with ukulele, it doesn't have to do with the fact that it looks too much like Banjo-Kazooie or that Playtonic did a pretty good replica of Banjo-Kazooie. It's the fact that I feel like some of the areas look so empty, especially that casino one. It just doesn't look like there's
they're too big. The worlds are
they're
too large.
too big, like you said. They're too large, and there's some camera issues, which they've said they've fixed. So I'll give them that. But it's just that the size of the world is just a little too much, and a little not enough in it.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue our ukulele thoughts when we actually get the game on the Switch, probably, since none of us have played it. And we were talking about Donkey Kong 64. So,
well, I mean, that goes right into Donkey Kong 64.
Totally. I totally agree. And I absolutely think that Nintendo could help revive life in this genre. But at the same time, like James was saying, the genre died out because of oversaturation in the market. So I really hope that if we do get a good collectathon from Nintendo, that everyone else in the gaming industry doesn't say, "Oh, hey, collectathons are popular again. Let's make 1 million more," and then we lose the genre.
I don't think it's possible because we don't have those small second party or small third party companies anymore. You know, we have the AAA games guys, but they're making adventure or shooter games. It's just we don't have. THQ is back, but they don't make the same kind of games anymore. They don't make those collectathons. I mean, when's the last movie video game you played? Video game based off a movie. When's the last one you played? If you ever played one?
Probably back on, I don't know, maybe the Wii.
It may have been Harry. I played some. It may have been Harry Potter, but anyway, back in the day, there were just tons and tons of video games, and those are those smaller parties that were making them. But now they don't. Either you have you have the small indie companies, making video games, or you have these big AAA companies like Nintendo, Sony, and all those other people making the video games. So I think if the collectathon game genre were to come back, I don't know if everyone would jump on it automatically. I think right now the money is still in shooter games, and that's where and it's easy to make those kind of games. That's why a lot of indie games are making anyway.
Well, not only can I think Nintendo could probably do a collectathon game pretty well, but the audience is also in Nintendo's court, and so it's really interesting that ukulele, trying to bring back this genre, completely avoided the Nintendo systems. Not on purpose, of course. The Wii U was a little underpowered, and the Switch came out at an awkward time for them.
Right.
But they kind of missed their main demographic, I think.
Yeah, and it's a shame that Nintendo, who's been telling us we have these great relationships with indie developers, didn't try to talk with, or at least get Playtonic a kit soon enough in development. Like, I mean, we saw the Nintendo Direct a couple months ago where the director of relationships with third parties, or whatever his title is, he gets on and he's showing all these games that they've been working with over the past few year or so with the Switch. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a shame that Nintendo missed that demographic with ukulele.
I don't think they've been doing a very good job. The director of Axiom Verge came out and said that he's been trying to reach Nintendo for quite some time to try and get Axiom Verge on the Switch, and said that he probably could have even gotten it on at release if they had actually contacted him, and they've just been completely ignoring him.
Interesting. Well, I still feel like they have pretty good relationship with their nindies and indies.
Specific nindies, but not indies in general.
Yeah.
I don't understand
right
why,
now, I think the biggest issue is where's the AAA games? Where are the third party, like, you know, EA, all the other companies? I mean, they say they're coming, but I don't see anything really, except for maybe.
Well, it's only been out for 2 months. It's different when the Axiom Verge is already prepared to switch over to Switch. Already has a Wii U copy of the game, and it's not hard to just make the switch. There's all the AAA games studios. They've only had their dev kits for so long. I think.
Yeah. But the same with the indie studios.
Yeah, but they're smaller games.
Right. Well, no. They are smaller games. You're right. But still, you can still announce them, at least. But maybe they're saving it for E3. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. So
I mean, we kind of went on a tangent there, but yeah, Donkey Kong 64. I'd like to see it. I don't know if the market's entirely on board for that game. That one kind of is a controversial, even within the Collectathon series of games.
Yeah.
That one's one of the more controversial ones just because it was kind of a pain for some people switching between the Kongs. And it
did feel unique.
It was kind of like 5 times the amount of collectibles, though.
Yeah, compared to Banjo and...
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd love to see it come back. The next game that I have on our list is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I guess in particular the Mario and Luigi series, but there's been this rumor that's been floating around. One of the guys that managed to get I think he was the one that got the Wii U copy of Breath of the Wild off of the servers before release. He managed to get his way into the 3DS eShop servers and found data referencing Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga DX. And right after that announcement, he posted that Nintendo closed off the server and then showed the icon for the game that he found on the server. And of course, this is unannounced and it may or may not happen. I mean, of course, it's a rumor, but that just leads me to wonder, like, excuse me, should we get a return to Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and should the series go back to its roots with Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga?
Yeah, so I really love this series, although I've only finished the first one, but I've played like a little bit of each except the second and third one. I haven't played the fourth or fifth, but I would love to see a remake of Superstar Saga. It is definitely one of my favorite games. I'm not except for the 3DS, right? That's the rumor.
Yeah, it's for the 3DS.
So that's great and all, but can I have it on my Switch?
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand, like, you gotta keep the 3DS going, and that wouldn't be a bad thing, but.
Well, it's not so much keep the 3DS going, but that the install base is so much larger on the 3DS than the Switch.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, if they can make money off of the 3DS, they might as well. So, I mean, while I was thinking about Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, I was also thinking about Mario RPG clear back on the SNES, and how we haven't had something like that maybe since then, other than Mario & Luigi, the series. Like, especially starring Mario characters. I mean, I think that Mario needs a full RPG game again.
Paper Mario.
Well, yeah, Paper Mario, sure.
So Super Mario RPG split into Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi Saga, pretty much.
Right.
And now they're both like shadows of their former selves, ghosts of their former selves, whatever the saying is, that's what they are. But I don't know. Like, you can bring back Super Mario RPG, I guess. I guess that'd be fun. I don't know. I'm just worried that it won't. Like, we get it and we're like, oh, maybe this isn't as great as we thought it was. Like, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Super Mario RPG, but maybe it's a little dated. Like, even if they make a sequel, and maybe the whole mechanics and everything would seem a little dated. That's just my opinion.
So it probably just didn't age well. I don't know. I haven't played the original game, so this one's kind of rough for me to talk about.
I'm sure Skylar would disagree with me though, because he loves that game to death. I don't know. I just but Superstar Saga on the other hand, I felt like, I don't know. To me, like, maybe it was just easier. Maybe it's because the art style. I could just see the Superstar Saga art style better than the RPG one, and just the charm that it has, along with the humor.
Yeah, I mean, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga is one of my favorite RPGs to play through. I mean, I love lots of different RPGs. I've played quite a few of them, I think. But Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga was one of the first games that I actually got to play and sit through. It was one of the first games that I got on my Game Boy Advance, which was my first console that I owned. And so when I played through that game, I absolutely loved it. And I really enjoy the combat system. I think that it has a great story. And I think that we mentioned this before, especially coming from Jordan, that Super Mario RPG was the first Mario game that actually gave us some sort of insight in the story of Mario. Right? Did we talk about that already on the podcast?
Yeah.
So
we talked about that in the Paper Mario episode.
That's right. And so I really, really enjoy these stories that give us, or these games that give us more story. And so I think that a game, especially that could come out on the Switch, that has this RPG base that tells us more about the story would be absolutely welcome. I mean, we have the Paper Mario series, we have the Mario and Luigi series. I mean, why don't we get both of them on the Switch? Or some sort of game that takes ideas from those. I don't know. I mean, if the 3DS really is dying this year and Nintendo is not making another handheld, these series have to somehow make the transition.
It's not dying this year. They just announced the 2DS XL.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we just don't have any other games that are really announced for 2018 is what I mean to say. And who knows, we might get a whole bunch more.
We had that episode, Is It Gonna Die or Not? I really think it has life in 2018. Just especially after they released the new Nintendo 2DS XL. It'll have life in 2018. I'm a little unsure what Nintendo's trying to do. I think it's just they're just trying to make sure that the Switch has a life, and that in case it tanks, they can still have the 3DS. But who knows? I don't work at Nintendo, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but I do want to say that earlier this week or last week, the director for Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia said that there are going to be no more Fire Emblem releases on 3DS.
That's
or at least
true. He did say that. He did say that. Like,
they're not going to make any more for the 3DS. But, I mean, we do have this whole, like year separation between Echoes and Fates. Fates came out last year, right? Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, it did. Okay.
Last February.
So there was a year gap between these two Fire Emblem
it came
games.
out the year previous in Japanese. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Japan already has Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. So
that was like a month ago,
right? But anyway,
that one looks pretty sweet. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, and I just read an article earlier today. A reviewer said that even just 4 hours in, he says he likes the challenge of the game and that it's way harder than the last few Fire Emblem games have been. So anyway, tangent, but yeah, I don't know.
Final thoughts on Mario Superstar Saga, like the remake. I'm shocked. I guess I'm happy. It's just, I don't know. I maybe it's because I've used to playing it that it's like, wait, this is an old game now. Like, I don't know. It's just funny to me that there would be a remake. As far as sequels go, I mean, we already have like a ton of sequels. I mean, I doubt they're gonna stop making sequels, but I would like them just to take the first game and maybe the exact same battle style, maybe improve upon it a little more, but don't change a whole lot, and make a new game out of it. That I would like. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
but
I
anyway,
agree. I agree. I mean, the game is 14 years old, so it has been a while since we got it. I think that the rumor has merit and that it'll be a fun game. But I do think that the series could also make a fun transition to the Switch.
I know it's been 14 years, but it just surprised me that it's considered old.
All right, well, let's move on to the next game. James, you mentioned before the podcast that you wanted to talk about Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, sorry. Earthworm Jim is a game that I saw my uncle play a lot on his, I believe it was his Genesis. I could be wrong. I was very little. But when he let me play it, and oh my gosh, I fell in love with how weird and but at the same time serious looking Earthworm Jim was, and then the atmosphere and the levels. And it's not the best platformer, looking back on it, but I would love a return to the character just so I can play it for myself. And maybe there was, I know they had a sequel, but I don't know if they've had anything since then. I could be wrong, and there's probably something staring me in the face right now telling me that there is, but no, I can't think of any. Anyway, that would be an awesome game to have on the Switch, is return to a platforming shooter game. Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah, so I just looked up who created the game, and it was done by Shiny Entertainment, which merged with the Collective to create Double Helix Games. And then Double Helix Games was purchased 3 years ago by Amazon.com.
What in the world?
Yeah, so it's really weird.
It's complicated.
The first release for Double Helix Games was Silent Hill Homecoming for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And they haven't really done a game since UFOs Love Cows. That's their most recent game.
Which was
okay.
When?
That was 2014. So it looks like Amazon bought the studio and the studio kind of died and stopped making games.
There has to be a way to bring it back. There just has to be. But if not, that's fine. It's not like I need it, but it'd be a lot of fun. And I think that's a game that, could pull on some people's nostalgia strings. If you get the opportunity to play it, please do.
Yeah, and Earthworm Jim's art style reminds me a lot of Rayman, the original Raymans on the PlayStation. Yeah. And I loved those games a lot. And
I played I did own a Rayman on the PC, but I felt like I enjoyed I feel like I enjoyed Earthworm Jim a little more. But maybe that was because I was actually shooting things. Instead in Rayman, I'm punching things. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, we're getting Rayman Origins again on the Switch soon, I think. It's one of the most recent Rayman games. It's getting another port onto the Switch. I think so. And those games are fantastic. I'd like to see a return to some of the original Rayman ideas where he acquires new powers as he goes through the game. But the games that are out are really fun anyway. So, yeah. Okay, well, the next game that I have listed is F-Zero. We've talked about F-Zero a little bit, but also Skylar's not here, and we feel like Skylar would want to talk about this game even more than we would. So I think
I've only played a little bit of like the GameCube one. It kicked my butt.
It's a hard game. The next game that I have listed is Pac-Man World 2.
Yes.
This game...
I hated this game.
It's great! Don't fight it, Jordan! Let Pac-Man
really
consume
fun.
your soul!
I played it first on the PlayStation 2, and then I got it on my GameCube because I wanted it at my own house, because my grandparents had the PlayStation 2. And I think it's a really fun game. I mean, after playing through it a little bit again a few months ago, I can definitely see why people have problems with the game. The controls are really wonky, and some of the platforming is very inconsistent, and the camera can be a pain, but
Yep.
I don't know.
Jordan, sympathies. But I loved this game as a kid, and I don't know, like, all the not wacky ways, but some of the terrible platforming that people complain about, I had fun. Like, if I would miss the platform, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I died! Or you just zoom. Or I think one of my favorite levels, but it was also frustrating, was the ice one where you have to make this incredible jump at the end of the level.
Where you're ice skating down the mountain.
And it's a big ramp jump, and that jump was a little difficult, but I always thought it was such a blast. Now, I never collected all the fruit, or at least I don't think I did, and I guess that's can be an issue. But I just did what I had to do to beat each level, and then I got to the end of the game and beat the game, and I had a lot of fun. I like the kind of the open level, not the open level, but you get into a level and you have to get to one point to the next, but you're still collecting things as you go, and there's little obstacles, and I really enjoyed that. I think they could take that concept, make it look a lot better, a lot less glitchy, and Bandai Namco can totally do that, right? Or Namco Bandai, whichever comes.
Yeah, it's Bandai Namco, I think.
I think they could totally do that, and they have the Namco Museum or Arcade Museum coming out. So obviously, and they've worked with Nintendo on games, so obviously they have a good relationship. Why not get an exclusive Pac-Man game that is like Pac-Man World 3? Do they have a third one?
They made a third one.
4! Give me 4!
Did anyone ever play the first one?
I don't think I ever played it.
I never did.
People only have played the second one. Even the third one's a mystery. It really existed.
My cousin owned the third one. That's the only reason I know it existed, but I never played it. So
would you not play Pac-Man World 4, Jordan?
I don't know. I mean, the level designs were really creative with the second one. They would have to really fix up the platforming there.
Explain, Jordan. Tell us exactly what they should do.
Make it so the camera actually follows the character and doesn't fly all over the place. Make it so the platforming doesn't have you guessing on where you need to go half the time.
Yeah.
There was bad game design all over the place with that game.
I think they were Mario went 3D, Sonic went 3D. We gotta go 3D too, guys. They're we don't know what we're doing, lol. Of course, Namco has made 3D games, and they still make them, but it's just funny that, they just thought they had their main character, or their main icon had to become 3D platforming as well. Even though Pac-Man has never been about platforming. But hey, I liked it, and I would love a fourth one. If there isn't wait, is there a fourth one?
I'll look real quick.
I know they recently made a new Pac-Man game in kind of the world style.
Oh, you may be right.
But I don't think it was officially called World 4.
No. When I search for Pac-Man World 4 on Google, what comes up is a petition to develop Pac-Man World 4 on change.org. And I would just like to read this description real quick.
Change.org.
It starts with, whatever happened to the days when Pac-Man was about battling the Ghost Gang, Spooky and Orson? Whatever happened to chomping power pellets to eat ghosts, collecting pack dots, not cookies, fruit, tokens, and gallops to enter mazes, bouncing on targets, rev rolling, butt bouncing, jumping on switches to reveal pathways, and ice skating in levels? Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, the video game, lacks the charm of the Pac-Man World series.
Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures?
Yeah, that was the name of the game.
That sounds like the TV. Don't they have like a Pac-Man TV series? It sounds
yeah,
like
they did, yeah.
It sounds like they just made a video game of the TV series.
Yeah,
Sounds like a game we need to stream.
And then this sentence. For Pac-Man's 35th anniversary, we deserve a Pac-Man World 4. We deserve Pac-Man World designs for each character. The characters that we haven't seen in recent titles like Ms. Pac-Man, Chomp Chomp, Pac-Man Jr., Orson, etc. And the Pac-Man World 2 gameplay formula and levels is brilliantly designed and action-packed as they were in Pac-Man World 2.
Brilliantly.
We need Pac-Man to be an adult in the video game series again.
These were brilliantly designed, so I have no idea what you're talking about when you talk about bad game design, because the people have spoken.
So everyone should just go to change.org and find it. I don't know. Let's see.
Even then, like, what is it gonna do?
It got 53 supporters out of 100.
Only 53, huh?
People have spoken, huh?
Yeah, a whole 53
of them.
Oh my gosh.
That's smaller than
the first comment is a troll comment. It talks about sexual attraction to Pac-Man, so I'm not going to read it. But
yeah, don't do that. But
yeah.
If they really want a traditional Pac-Man, they, just go play one of the billions of Pac-Man remakes that they have. There's your anniversary. Woohoo! No, I personally would really like a Pac-Man World 4. Similar in a sense to Pac-Man World 2. Obviously fixed. But that's my dream.
It's a good dream. I think that Pac-Man deserves another good series again.
And you can hate if you want, Jordan. It's fine. I don't care.
You guys do you.
Speaking of me doing me, Kirby Air Ride. I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but we need Kirby Air Ride on Switch, okay?
I guess.
Just imagine. You're sitting on your Switch and you're just like, I
want to play a racing game. I'll play Mario Kart. 8. The end.
Yeah, okay. But I mean,
no,
it's
fine.
Love Kirby Air
There
Ride.
is a fan base for Kirby Air Ride, and I think that it deserves another chance. The thing about Kirby is they're always experimenting with things, and then they never go back. They never do it again. Yeah. They never go back. It's like, this worked. Let's never touch it again.
I think it would be so fun to play Kirby Air Ride with 8 people, just like you can with Mario Kart 8. Maybe even up to 12 or whatever with local network play. Wow. I think it'd be so fun to play through City Trial with big groups of people. They could add more air ride machines. And I think it would just be another fun addition for Nintendo to have another racing game other than Mario Kart. Because, I mean, it's just a fun way to diversify what you've got. I know Jordan doesn't care too much.
Skylar's spirit is here. He's saying, F-Zero.
Yeah.
F-Zero.
If he listens to this episode, he's probably going to be like, yeah, F-Zero all the way. But I really do think that Kirby Air Ride could have a magnificent and triumphant return on the Switch. I would absolutely love it, and I would buy it day one. I don't know. What do you guys actually think about Kirby Air Ride? I know that it's basically... I'm pretty sure it's just me and Skylar that like it.
It was all right.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay, I guess.
It was kind of chaotic. I never really understood what was going on.
Well, there's that, and also, I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't know why I never got really into it. I played it with friends, but for me, it was just, I just always enjoyed Mario Kart better. That was the end of it. And at the time, it was up against Double Dash, right?
But is Kirby Air Ride really? I don't know. It doesn't really feel like a true racing game like Mario Kart does.
Yeah, I mean there are racing modes.
There's a racing mode.
There are two types of racing modes in the game. There's
but
Top
no one
Ride and then
plays the
there's
racing
Air
mode.
Ride.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's not that fun.
Everyone
plays City Trial.
Yeah, the city one.
Because it's got little mini games and you can upgrade your cart and you battle each other in the middle of the game. It's fun.
So basically, it's not a racing game.
I will say
yeah.
I I have more fun with Kirby Air Ride than I do with Mario Kart, but I've never been a big fan of Mario Kart to begin with.
Fair enough.
I'm just not in
Did you like Double Dash?
Of the Mario Karts, Double Dash is my favorite.
But that's not saying much then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I really like Double Dash, and I've just always enjoyed. I even really like Mario Kart Wii. Some people have a lot of flack with it. I really enjoyed it.
I really liked it too.
Maybe it's because I'm not like super competitive in the sense in that game, because I'm not very good at Mario Kart. But I have a lot of fun anyway. And hey, if you're in the back, you get the blue shells and the bullet bills and stuff like that. So it's great.
I just get tired of losing.
That's true.
Yeah, that can be a pain. So I think Kirby Air Ride would be a fun game to have on the Switch. I don't know if it would sell very well because I don't think that there are a ton of people that like it as much as I do. But I don't know. Kirby is Kirby. Kirby sells pretty well whenever it's on something. So maybe it'll work.
I think Kirby Air Ride would sell pretty well. I just don't think I'm part of the audience that it would sell to.
That's fair.
I think a lot of people really loved Kirby Air Ride, and
I'm one of them.
Yeah,
you are one of them.
Well, let's move on. The next game we have on our list is Mega Man, aka another Shovel Knight.
Mega Man. Well,
that's what I wrote down.
aka another Shovel Knight. Well, I mean, I don't know if. Oh, go ahead.
We got one in 2010, so it's about 7 years now, almost, since the last official Mega Man game. I don't even think there's been a spin-off since then, has there?
I don't think so.
Was that the last Mega Man?
Well, there's Street Fighter X Mega Man, which was 2012, but that definitely doesn't count. And then there was the Legacy Collection that was released in 2015 for
that's just a remake.
Yes, but
I'm not talking about remakes. I'm talking about like an actual Mega Man game.
Yeah, Mega Man 10 was the last one in 2010.
Yeah, so another Mega Man game is definitely wanted, and seeing Konami come back with Bomberman and, you know, maybe say like they're trying to care about some of their franchises, maybe kind of gives me a little more hope with Capcom. I mean, Capcom obviously is still pushing out games, and they're way better than Konami, don't get me wrong. It's just I want them to not push Mega Man away like it seems like they have.
Well, once again, this is another scenario like with Banjo-Kazooie, where Mighty Number 9, it came out with mixed response, and so we don't really know if the audience is truly there. We know there is a fan base that would really love. There's a very loud fan base that would love a Mega Man game, but can a Mega Man game get the sales that Capcom wants? We don't really know anymore.
I think it's unfair to look at Mighty Number 9 and say, see, they don't want it. It's like, well, it wasn't it wasn't even a complete game. It wasn't very good.
Right.
I mean, I think that they need to just try to make the best Mega Man and take the time, the best Mega Man game they can, and put it on the market and see what happens. If no one buys it, then maybe we need to rethink.
Then someone loses their shirt.
Yeah, true.
It's a bit of a risk still.
Yeah. But come on, Capcom is still making money in other areas. I mean, I think they've had better days, but
I think Mega Man could do well. It's just convincing the producers whether or not it can is getting more and more difficult, especially the longer we go without a Mega Man game.
Yeah, this is a Japanese company we're talking about, too, so...
So would I love one? Yeah. Do I see it as being a realistic possibility in the near future? It's kind of cloudy.
Right. I mean,
I think
I've
Nintendo.
Never...
I think Nintendo is the perfect audience.
Well, yeah.
I think that's where their main audience is for Mega Man is Nintendo. A little bit of Sony as well, but mostly.
And that's why Mega Man 10 was released on the Wii first, and then ported to the other systems afterwards. And so Mega Man 10, I think, did pretty well. I don't know why they stopped there.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, why did they stop?
Because they did Mega Man 9, then Mega Man 10, and both of those were on the Wii first, and then ported to the other systems. Both did pretty well sales-wise, and so everyone thought, oh, will we get a Mega Man 11 soon? And it just never showed up.
Maybe they're worried about, maybe they don't have the right director or something. I don't know, because Inafune is not there anymore, yeah? Because he's with his own thing, and he made Mighty Number 9.
Inafune wasn't the real director of Mega Man.
True. You're right. He was the supposed creator, but even he himself says, I'm not really the creator.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, here's hoping that Capcom gets smart and tries to make a new one.
I hope so.
I definitely think there's an audience for it.
Keep it 8-bit.
Yeah. Go
I know there's a lot of people who would love the X series to return too, though.
That'd be cool.
So which would you prefer to see, 8-bit or X?
I don't know. That's a hard question for me because I've never really been big on the the Mega Man series, so I don't have an answer.
The thing is that I feel like 8-bit right now is I'm kind of done with 8-bit. I mean, I know Mega Man 8-bit games are generally really good, depending on which number they are, but I think it'd be really cool to have Mega Man X, and if it's as good as the ones I've played before, but
I mean, Shovel Knight was extremely popular, and it still is. So there are people that like the 8-bit style. That's for sure.
I've just played so many recently. It's just okay. I'm kind of done with the 8-bit. Not saying that I wouldn't play an 8-bit Mega Man game. It's just I don't know. I wouldn't mind them trying something different, but maybe that could hurt sales. I don't know.
So there was recently a fan Mega Man game that came out, where it was.
Oh, really?
I forgot what it was called. But it worked in the way where you had 3-dimensional, so you'd come to a fork in the road, and you could switch the screen so it would rotate around depending on which direction of the fork you wanted to take. And so it was not truly 3D; it was still 8-bit Mega Man, but it gave more branching paths, and that was pretty sweet.
That would be interesting.
I would like to see that show up in an official Mega Man game.
That would be really cool.
Let me see if I can find the name of that, but
it's not Mega Man Legends 3.
It's Mega Man 2.5D.
Oh, okay.
2.5D.
That's a cool name.
It was a fan game. It's actually pretty sweet. So if you want to play a Mega Man game, check that one out.
What is it on Steam?
No, you just download it on the internet because it's not an official game.
It's a fan game.
Oh. Gotcha. Wink, wink.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I might play through it, but I also have so many other games that I have to play. I've got a lot.
But I don't know. At the same time, Mega Man X going to on the SNES type of graphics would be so cool.
Yeah, I agree. The next game that I have, I guess series on the list are Wario platformers. I mean, we've said before that we want WarioWare to return. I mean, Skylar mentioned when we talked about 1-2 Switch that a lot of those games would have fit perfectly in a WarioWare game, and so we figured, why hasn't Nintendo brought back WarioWare? But I think that
we also talked about 2D Wario platforming as well. I mean. And honestly, I think that'd be. I think people would like that too. I think the last one was Wario Land Shake It.
Yeah, it was.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was.
And that was such a beautiful art style. Unfortunately, I don't think it sold very well. And I think that's why they haven't made another one.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't. I mean, I guess who made it? Let me look.
Skylar would know.
He would definitely know. Wasn't it.
Was it Intelligence?
No, it was Good Feel.
Oh,
I wonder what they've been working on. But anyway,
well, weren't they the ones behind Yoshi's Woolly World and Kirby's Epic Yarn?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Woolly World. And then they did they did 4 of the Street Pass games, from what I'm seeing here. So, I don't know.
Well, they seem to be like one of the art-heavy groups. Is that fair enough to say?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I don't know. I think it'd be a lot of fun if they had a sequel to Wario Land Shake It in that kind of art style. I mean, it was so beautiful. But it is very time-consuming to draw all those individual frames of Wario and all the other enemies and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I would love it, but in the realm of possibility, probability, I just don't.
It sold about 1.15 million on the Wii.
Yeah, so it did all right.
It's
okay.
It did okay, but it's also the worst selling of the Wario Land games.
Exactly.
Whereas the best one sold 5.19 million, so it was a bit of a drop.
Wait, which one was that?
Which one was that?
The first one.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, there you go.
But I think that Wario deserves his own game again. I really do. It's been a while since we've seen him in his own game.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
There was Wario World on the GameCube. I mean, if they wanted to do, like we were talking about the Donkey Kong 64 Collectathon, you could kind of go for the Wario World style and have Wario collect lots of things like he did in Wario World.
Sure. How about like Wario Galaxy?
That would be awesome.
Well, that'd be pretty great. But it's not. Yeah. That'd be awesome. Actually, you get to see like the underside of the galaxy. Because not all galaxy have to be beautiful, right? Maybe there's some disgusting looking galaxies, or maybe there's some treasure filled ones.
It's like an anthology game to the Galaxy series where Wario is following behind Mario but keeps landing on the wrong planet. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly, I think a Wario Land Shake It game is more likely than that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I would love for the game to come back. Wario was one of my favorite games growing up, or Wario Land 3, I believe, is the one I played a lot. But I don't know if the audience is there anymore. I know they'll make more WarioWare games, or at least mini ones. But
yeah,
who knows?
Well, here's hoping. That's all the games that I have on my list. Did you guys think of anything else while we were chatting away?
Are they still making like skater games? By the way, do you know?
If you're not even following them, then would you really pick one up?
Do I really care?
Do you really care?
So here's the thing. Remember when we did our GameCube gems?
Yeah.
I really liked the Disney Pro Skater.
Well, sure.
Game.
But what if like this new skater game already exists for you? We don't know.
Well, if there's a new skater game, okay.
Well, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 came out in 2015, so
there you go.
Yeah, I imagine there was a new Tony Hawk game. But what if we had another Disney Pro Skater? I'd be on top of that. I would buy that. Just for the mere fact that I could play as Timon and Pumbaa. if they had that.
I don't know. I think the Disney Skater game now would include Elsa and Anna, and that's pretty much it.
Let it go.
And that would be the only song that plays in the background.
Let it grind. Let it grind.
Do some backflips in. Let it grind. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, we all want our favorite games to make a comeback. That's for sure. I'll go through that list one more time, just so that the listeners know what we talked about again. We would like to see some sort of Donkey Kong 64 game return, a Mario and Luigi / Mario RPG type series, Earthworm Jim, F-Zero, but again, we didn't talk about that because Skylar isn't here. Pac-Man World 2 / Pac-Man World 4.
Pac-Man World 4!
Kirby Air Ride game, Return to Mega Man, and WarioWare and Wario Land. I think that those are some good games that we could hope to get, and who knows if Nintendo will do it, but they totally should.
I mean, in reality, We really just want a new Metroid.
That's all we care about right now. Good point. All right, I'm just going to delete this whole episode and it'll just say Metroid, and that'll be it.
For a minute there, I thought you were serious. I was like, whoa.
No, I won't do that. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Virtual Boys podcast. Again, I've been David, accompanied with James and Jordan, and we are the Virtual Boys. Be sure to check out our website at nintendcity.com, and be sure to follow our social media accounts so that you can keep in touch with us. Be sure to subscribe and share us with your friends, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.
Goodbye, you good people.